What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be going over talking about our best diamonds right now in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM and ranking them on a tier list. Now, when I say best diamonds, that's not necessarily true because I'm really ranking all of these season 4 diamonds and some of the best diamonds in the game. So if I left off anybody, I apologize again. I tried doing my best, tried to include everybody, tried to think of some of the top diamonds in the game, tried to search by them. But again, I'm not perfect. So again, if I left off, let's say your favorite diamond, I apologize. I do my best, but again, sometimes I do leave people off. So that's what we're going to be doing. And we're going to start off with Marcus Smart. And as I do dive into Marcus Smart, if you're new to the channel, please smash that subscribe button. I really do appreciate all the support on the channel. Marcus Smart is like the perfect. He is like the epitome of a 3-and-D point guard in my team. A perfect budget point guard to pick up. Now, one thing about Marcus Smart is if you do run Marcus Smart, you're probably going to want to run a shooting guard that can get a bucket because Marcus Smart is like your primary scoring option isn't going to be great. I like Marcus Smart. I'm just telling you, as far as a primary scoring option, there are going to be better options than him, but has a good release. Defensively is really solid. Marcus Smart in A tier, easy addition. Dino Raja. I'm going to throw this card at F tier. I think this card is an absolute trash can, and it's sad because if you think about my team history, just think about it for a second. We used to see good Dino Raja cards. Dino Raja used to be a card that we'd pick up and he would always be a plug-and-play option, whether he was a budget card, whether he was, 50,000 coins. He always used to be good. And that's something that bugs me is this year 2K has kind of went away from really good budget cards, and they've done that in recent history. Dino Raja is one of the ones that I really think about because, again, in my team history, this card used to be so good. The sad part is this Dino Raja stinks. Reggie Lewis up next. I mean, he's not horrible. Like Reggie Lewis can play a little ball. He's just not perfect. I do think B tier is probably the right spot for Reggie Lewis, but again, I really don't hate him at all. He can knock down shots. He plays defense. I wish his 3-ball was higher. That's my real only complaint about Reggie Lewis. If he had a higher 3-ball, I mean, I'd gas guard up a lot. He's no Reggie Lewis from a few years ago in Clutch Time Online. Do y'all remember that Reggie Lewis? I think it was Clutch Time Online. That card was so good for his time. But this Reggie Lewis is still really solid and can play at a super high level on this game. Alex Caruso up next. Throwing him right in there with Marcus Smart. I think the most underrated part about Alex Caruso is how easy his release is to green. Like I use the, so for example, I use the Thunder in play now. And Caruso in there, I think has like an upper 70s 3-ball. But I never miss with Caruso. He is straight cash from the 3-point line. His 3-ball might not even be that good. And I still never miss with it. So I'm going to gas Caruso. Even though I've never used his My Team card, I've used him in play now quite a bit. And the card is absolute money from the 3-point line. Luol Deng, I think I got to go A tier as well. When you think of perfect 3-and-D budget type of guys, I think you've got to respect what Luol Deng does. Again, knocks down shots, plays good defense, has a wide player build. I would say his release is a little on the slower side of things, so that is one of the main reasons. You can't go S tier in my opinion with Luol Deng, but I do think the card is complete enough to go at that A tier. Next up, Dion Waiters. Yikes, D tier, the card stinks. Anderson Varejao isn't good. I think C tier probably is the right spot. Like when you look at Varejao stat-wise, he's not great, but he's honestly not that bad. But then I've tried to play with Varejao, and the card was a scrub on the floor. So I'm going C tier with Varejao. I don't see it. Lamont Murray, I'm going to go B tier with. I think Lamont Murray can play. The sad part about all of those Tuesday cards is what do I think of in the back of my mind? Well, I think of number one, you either have to grind for him and the grind's not worth it, or number two, you spend $50 for the card. So I don't like Lamont Murray. He's just not great. Gallinari, C tier. He's fine, not great. Marcus Camby is really good. Like for budget bigs, Marcus Camby is good. I just want you guys to know though, if you pick up Marcus Camby, his release stinks, okay? It's super slow, it's super baited, it's tough to time, and so know that with Marcus Camby. If you're picking up the card, yes, statistically speaking, the card is ideal. He is fantastic, he is great, but that release is not great whatsoever. A tier for the card. Tony McDice, I don't think he's very good. Now, I am going to actually pull up this McDice card just to make sure I'm right. 73 ball, decent speed, Taj base. I mean, he's not that bad. I think C tier probably is the right spot, right in there with Varejao. I think that's fair, right? C tier. Abdul Roof up next. F tier, I'm not going to gas the card. Alex English is fine. I think B tier is the right tier. Like, a tier below Luol Deng, I think is fair. Like, I think Alex English stat badge-wise is solid. He's just not quite as good as Luol Deng, and I think that's a fair statement. Bill Laimbeer, I think D tier is probably the right spot. Like, Bill Laimbeer isn't that bad, though. Somebody used Bill Laimbeer against me, and they were greening with him. So, I don't know. The 70 speed leaves a lot to be desired. I'm going to go D tier with him. Chandler Parsons, add D tier. Card stinks. Luis Scola can at least shoot the ball decent. I guess C tier is probably where he belongs. Doesn't give you a whole lot, especially defensively. Is definitely going to struggle for you. But as far as greening shots, he does do that at a decently high level. Tyrese Halliburton, D tier. And, I mean, maybe C tier because he's 6'5". I just hate the fact that this Tyrese Halliburton card has such a baited release. And I've said it since last year. People wanted to gas last year's Tyrese Halliburton. And I said the exact same thing. His release is just too baited to hype up too much. I can't get behind it. I'm sorry, Tyrese. You are C tier in my opinion. Miles Turner up next. Miles Turner's good. He is a really good big. He's probably better than Marcus can be. I'm only going to go A tier for now, and I'll show you guys why as this list goes on. But I do like Miles Turner. I think he's solid as far as a diamond big. Now, if you're putting him at A tier on the center list, I don't agree with that. But when you're comparing him to some of the other diamond centers in the game, I can get behind Marcus Camby being at that A tier. Derek McKee up next. He's not horrible. I like his release. He plays some defense. I'm actually going to go B tier with Derek McKee. And it might seem crazy, but he's probably the best card that came out in that locked-in set as far as diamonds are concerned. Like, I don't necessarily think the card's perfect, but that's where I'm at with Derek McKee. I think he's fine at that B tier. Lonzo Ball up next. I think whether it's Marcus Smart, whether it's Alex Caruso, whether it's Lonzo Ball, all of the cards are going to do, I don't want to say the same thing, but relatively similar things on the court. They're all going to defend. They're all going to knock down open shots. None of them should be your primary ball handlers. All are good enough to go at A tier in my opinion. They're solid. Clarkson, he's a different point guard. But I still think he's A tier. Like, am I wrong with ranking Jordan Clarkson here? I think he does enough to be at A tier. No, he's not necessarily defensively as good as the rest of those guys, but I do think offensively he gives you more. So I do think A tier is the right ultimate spot for Clarkson, Lonzo Ball, Marcus Smart. I think, that's where the cards do belong. Jaren Jackson Jr. up next. S tier for Jaren. When I think of, when I think of big men on this game, especially diamond big men, Jaren's the first guy that comes to my mind. He's a complete big. He's going to knock down shots. Sure, you might wish he was taller if you want to play him at the center position. So guess what? You can always play him at the power forward position. Jaren S tier, super complete card on this game. Mike Miller is good as well. I'm throwing Mike Miller all the way at A tier. And I know this might not be a super popular opinion, but Mike Miller is good. Mike Miller can play a little ball. 6'8", shoots the ball well. Defensive stats on Mike Miller aren't bad either. I think, putting him all the way up at A tier is fair. I think it's fair. It's a fair assessment for Mike Miller. Bam Adebayo, not good. I'm going to throw him a D tier. The card stinks. John McLaughlin, not good either. I think, probably D tier is the right tier. PJ Brown is extremely good. He's going to go at that A tier. PJ Brown can knock down shots. He plays defense. PJ Brown is super complete on this game. And I do know there is somebody that I'm forgetting on this diamond list. I looked. There's a power forward. Oh, it's AC Green. That's the card I forgot. So let me plug him into this tier list real quick. Because I was trying to think of AC Green. I knew there was another big that I really liked and I couldn't think of him. It's AC Green. Duh, Ty. I think he's on your No Money Spent squad series. AC Green is extremely good as well, A tier. I mean, both of these cards are diamonds that if you get, should absolutely play for you guys. Both these cards can compete at extremely high levels. A tier for both PJ Brown, AC Green, absolute studs at the power forward position. Al Harrington's a tough one. Because, I mean, if you're talking about complete power forwards on this game, you gotta like what Al Harrington does. He knocks down shots, he plays defense. Like, the list of things Al Harrington does is long. I just don't know if he's quite as good as AC Green or PJ Brown, so I'm gonna put him at that B tier. Willis Reed, still to this day, is A tier. Borderline S tier. Like, Willis Reed's better than Miles Turner. He's got such a good release, and I know it could be tough to green sometimes, but I just love what Willis Reed does provide for you guys on the floor. I do. I mean, he's an absolute stud. Good player model, good player build, knocks down shots, and yes, I know his release is super quick, sometimes maybe tough to green, but Willis Reed is a stud. Jeff Green up next. This is a tough one. Is he S tier? Is he A tier? I love what Jeff Green does. And some people don't love Jeff Green's release. And look, I honestly am going to say, I get it, right? Jeff Green's release in the past was like super quick, super cheesy. His release is no longer that, but his release is still fine, right? Like his release is still a release you can green consistently with. You can get off. It's fine. The problem is, if you're asking me Jeff Green or Paulo, I'm taking Paulo. Paulo Banchero's diamond card is still S tier. I don't like the fact that he's still S tier because look, I like new cards being good in the game, but it's just the simple reality. It's the simple truth. Diamond Paulo, Diamond Jaren have been some of your best diamonds in the game for the last couple of months, and that has not changed. Yes, we've seen better diamonds come out recently, but Jaren Paulo are still the top dogs. S tier for Paulo. Jonathan Isaac, and here's where things get tough. Like, is Jonathan Isaac A tier or is he S tier? Because I still think Paulo walks circles around Jonathan Isaac, mainly more than anything because of his badges. And so I am going to put Jonathan Isaac at A tier, although he could be S tier. This one's truly personal preference, and maybe it's because I've just used Paulo more, so I'm gassing him more than Jonathan Isaac. But this, let me know, do you think Jonathan Isaac's S tier or A tier? Because I think it genuinely is super, super, super close. Next up on the list, Michael Carter-Williams. I refuse to gas Michael Carter-Williams. I refuse to. He's behind an exchange. I'm not going to gas him. Now, objectively, he is A tier, but he's not S tier. He's not S tier, and I'll get to why here in a second. But Michael Carter-Williams is good. But if you locked in the exchange for him, I'm sorry. Like, he's not worth locking in any MT for. He's just not. And I know there's going to be people mad in my comments. I don't care, guys. If you would lock in the exchanges, you're literally locking away MT for what reason? What reason? It's just not worth it. Now, if you got, I think he was a hidden gem at one stage, Michael Carter-Williams was. If you got a hidden gem version of him, do what you got to do. I'm just saying, locking in MT for Michael Carter-Williams is insane to me. Boris Diaw up next. I think B tier is the right spot because if you're comparing Boris Diaw to Al Harrington, here's the tough part. Because Boris Diaw is nearly super complete on card. Badge-wise, stat-wise, card super complete. It just comes down to his release leaves a lot to be desired. He's undersized at the 4. That's my tough part with Boris Diaw. The card does a lot of things on the floor, but I just think releases at this stage are super important. So I'm going to go B tier with Boris Diaw. Clifford Robinson does more because he can compete on the interior. Clifford Robinson is A tier. I don't really like my A tier. I've just got a lot of cards here. So maybe I'll move some cards up, move some cards down, mostly down probably here in a second. But for now, you can chill at A tier. Tyreke Evans, I'm going to throw him at A tier. Long, lengthy point guard. And if you're a long, lengthy point guard and you can compete on both ends of the court, you're going to go A tier for me. I know, some people might not think Tyreke Evans is perfect, whatever. I think the card is really solid stat-wise, going to knock down shots. I've got Tyreke Evans at that A tier. Pretty easy addition in there. Doug Christie up next. He's better than Reggie Lewis. He's, I think, probably better than Mike Miller, too. Honestly, it's crazy, but Doug Christie is still borderline S tier. I think, you could move him up. Am I going to move him up? Probably not. But you easily could move him up into that S tier. The card's going to knock down shots. I think he's got, the Pro 2 leaner. Defensively, off the charts good. Doug Christie, A tier. Easy addition for me. Really no questions asked for Mr. Doug Christie. Next up, Lionel Simmons. I don't know, man. At this C tier at this stage, I don't know. I don't see it with Lionel Simmons. If you like him, do what you got to do. I'm not going to be the one to sit here and tell you guys where to rank him, but I've got him at C tier. I don't love the card. The Tuesday drops are horrible. Wayman Tisdale. I just want you guys to look at these cards. Wayman Tisdale. 69 3-ball. That's the problem. His release is honestly fine, but badge-wise, he just lacks 6'9". He's not horrible. I guess you could throw him at C tier. It's just are you guys greening consistently with that? I don't know. LaSalle Thompson. I don't know. C tier, I guess. I just don't love these cards. Danny Green, A tier. A card that is extremely good. Now, I'm going to start. And I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to start clearing out A tier a little bit. And I think I got to start by moving some of these guys at C tier down and some of these guys at D tier down. So let's start with D tier. Parsons, honestly, and I know you guys probably think Chandler Parsons is decent. The card stinks. I'm just throwing it out there. Chandler Parsons stinks. You're going down. Let's look at John McLaughlin quick and just see, does he give me more than I think he does? I mean, he probably is D tier. Dion Waiters, I think D tier is fine. I need to move some guys down. So, I don't know, though. It's fine. Whatever. I am going to move some guys at B tier down, though. Who's better? Lamont Murray or... this is what I need to look at. Lamont Murray or Reggie Lewis. Who is better between them? One is staying. One is going. It's really that simple. And I think Lamont Murray is better than Reggie Lewis. just because of the 3 ball. So Reggie Lewis, you're going down to that C tier. Okay, I like that a little bit more. And now I need to move some guys down to that B tier. I do like Tyreke Evans though. I do. So the point guards are pretty stout. Maybe I'll move some guys up here. Man, I can't move anybody down. I don't think. I'm gonna move some guys up. Jonathan Isaac, you're going up. Willis Reed, you're going up. Clifford Robinson, you're going up. Jeff Green, you're going up. I think I like this a little more. Yes, I'm gassing some of these guys, but I like them. And A tier was just getting overcrowded. Brent Berry, gross. Pretty gross card, C tier. Jack Sigma, extremely good. And then here's going to be a tough thing. Like, does Sigma go at A tier or does he go S tier? I'm moving him to S tier. Jack Sigma is elite, guys. He stretches the floor extremely well. He knocks down shots. It's hard for me not to hype up Jack Sigma. It really is. I think the card does a lot of things on the floor for me. So I'm going to hype him up. I'm going to throw him at that S tier. I think the card's pretty complete. Mark Eaton, F tier. I don't care. Rui Hachimura, A tier. His release just lacks a little bit, and I love Rui. I'm like the biggest Rui stand out there, but his release does lack. And so, you know, if you're talking A tier or S tier, since his release does lack that little bit, I think it's fair to put him in that A tier. Not saying he's bad, but he just lacks that little bit. Kwame Brown up next. For Kwame Brown, he's elite. I got to throw him at S tier. I got to. Like, he's elite. He knocks down shots. He plays good defense. S tier for Kwame Brown. Jeff Malone, gross. D tier. DeMarre Carroll is extremely good. A tier for Carroll. Gonna green shots. Gonna play solid defense. A tier. Dragic, he's not worthless. C tier, though. Not great. Hami, B tier for Hami. He's fine. You can use him. But B tier is where he belongs. Dyson Daniels, S tier. He is why there cannot be another point guard at the diamond tier at S tier. Dyson blows all the other point guards out of the water. It's not even particularly close. So I'm sorry to the rest of the point guards. Blame Dyson Daniels being elite for the fact that you can't be higher. Like, that's really the truth why these rest of the point guards can't be higher, because Dyson is just too good on the game. Cole Anthony up next. I don't know. Haven't used the card. Not going to gas him. C tier, sure, whatever. James Jones, he's solid. I'm going to throw James Jones at B tier. I just wish defensively he gave you a little more. He is going to green shots. He's going to play solid defense. I just wish, you know, defensive side of the ball, he gave you slightly more. Again, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying because offensively he gives you a lot of just defensively, which gave you more. Isaiah Thomas, F tier, easy addition. Garrett Temple, I mean, C tier. It's just, I mean, he's probably not honestly even that bad, but it's just tough. It's like, you got to grind all these domination games for Garrett Temple. Give me a break. Trevor Ariza is better than Garrett Temple for sure. Is he above B tier? I think that's the question. Probably. Like, Trevor Ariza is good, and if you got him, you can absolutely run him. So I am going to throw him at that A tier. I think it's where he deserves. Robert Horry, B tier. He's fine, not great. Robin Lopez, C tier, not going to gas him. Seth Curry stinks, D tier. Lou Dort is still good. I know Lou Dort is undersized, but because of the defense he plays, he's going to go at B tier. I do not care. And last but certainly not least, Michael Sweetney. I think Sweetney belongs at B tier. Look, his release is fine enough. You can green with it. He plays solid enough defense. Is Sweetney like the most perfect guard in the game? No, because he's only 6'8". He is undersized. But I do want you guys to know, if you have Michael Sweetney, you absolutely can play the card. He can go out there and he's going to get you stops. He's going to green open shots, especially once you get the hang of his release. That's the big thing for me with Michael Sweetney. Once you get the hang of his release, the card is really good on the floor. I like Michael Sweetney, so I am going to throw him at that B tier. That's going to wrap it up for our tier list. And I know I've got a lot of guys at A tier. I don't even like the fact that I've got so many guys at A tier. But at some stage, it gets tough. It gets tough to rank these top dogs in the game, especially when it gets down to the diamonds. So, you know what's crazy? Boncaro, Jaren, Willis Reed, Jack Sigma. These cards have been, Dyson. These cards have been in the game forever, and they're still at the S tier. It's crazy, but that's the truth with the situation is you've just got some stage got to respect some of these diamond cards. That's going to wrap it up for our video. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. Really do appreciate all the recent support on the channel. I love each and every one of y'all. So hopefully you guys have a blessed day.